Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining in what is the first of a webinar series that's really showcasing how SMBs use Salesforce. So what we're going to go into today is going to be very sales focused, but we're going to discuss lead assignment, lead management, account management. We're going to talk about opportunities in the sales process, go into quoting and automations that we can have around that. Talk a little bit about validations that we can put in place to ensure data integrity, as well as using eSign for automations. And then at the end, we're just going to touch on reporting and emails. Every single thing that we're about to show you, absolutely everything, is all done using Salesforce declarative solution. So when I say declarative, non-code, so we've not used development for anything. Okay, so it's completely non-code. So we're using all standard Salesforce config, so all standard Salesforce automations, everything like that. So straight away as I land on the home page, what I can see here is metrics that are key and relevant to me as an individual. So it might be sales metrics in there. It might be things like website visitors. I could see Twitter. So all of the tweets that are relevant to me. I can see news. So just scrolling down as well from the metrics, you can embed PowerPoints from inside of Salesforce. So here's one that we saw earlier in terms of like a little bit about us as a business, or we could put training documentation as well in there. I can also see workflow as we're going through. So what tasks I have, events that I've got, coming up, any key deals that I'm working on in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start just on leads today. So I'm just going to navigate to leads now. For those of you that don't know what a lead is, think of a lead as like a business card. Okay, so a lead is very much just like collecting a small amount of information at the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly create a business lead. Okay, and we're going to use I'm going to use some dummy data to show you guys a lead being created. So actually, as we come in, actually, quite interesting. You can see just on the left hand side here. I'm just going to exit out of that. On the left hand side, using lead assignment, using omnichannel. A lead has just been created and just been assigned to me, and what you can see is it's ticking away here to show that lead has been active for 20 seconds, 21 seconds. So you can use that as a sales metric in terms of how quickly leads would get created for you. I'm going to click accept. Okay, and now it's going to take me to that lead page. Okay, so now the lead has been created. I've accepted that lead, and because I've accepted that lead, you can see I've taken ownership of that particular lead. And almost straight away, what we get is a complete 360-degree view of the customer or of the lead here. On the left-hand side, I can see any marketing, so engagement history that they've submitted a form. We have got a free plugin, LinkedIn Sales Navigator for Salesforce. Okay, and what we can see from this is I can start to get information about the lead without really going anywhere else, including number of connections that they've got. I can connect to them through LinkedIn. I can see how many employees that they've got on LinkedIn. So this is quite valuable. And again, it's just talking about the Salesforce ecosystem, just expanding upon it because that's just a plugin that you can install. Obviously, we've got the lead details, which we're going to come to in a second. And then on the right-hand side here, we've got anything else that relates to the lead. So it could be sales activity. So you can see once a lead has been created, the first thing it does is it actually just assigns me a task in there. So you can see it flags up that that lead for me to take over, and I'm now got a call to qualify that lead. Another thing, and you might have actually seen it before, it will also flag and highlight duplicate lead values. So if there's been a duplicate lead being created, it will automatically highlight that and allow us to either not create it or even to merge the leads. This is really important for data integrity. And up the top here, what we aim to do is we've got a lead process. So this lead process is a lineal start to finish lead process that helps us and other users navigate where we should be going. It's also really good because it's good for reporting and it's good for automations. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to contact this lead. Now you can see here we've got information to fill in, but for some users, they might not understand what they need to collect. And again, we're a small medium business. We've only got so much time, and we want people as they're working on the lead to quickly understand and get to grips with what they're doing. So we've used guided information inside of Salesforce. So what we're going to do is we're going to push a button, okay, and now it's going to generate a little pop-up, okay, and that pop-up that is going to generate is what is called like a guided flow. And it is what it says on the tin. Really, it's guidance. It's going to walk us through that lead, and it's going to walk us through the call. So first thing it's doing is it's saying to me, okay, on the phone, confirm the details of that lead. So here you can see I've got things like the name, the title of the company to confirm. I'll click next, and now there's clear instructions for me, but also for other people that work within our business about the information that they've got to collect on the call. So here, for example, we could select the industry that they're in. One of our criteria qualification questions, we asked do they use Salesforce. Here I can discuss the type that it is, so it's new business. Remember, we had that LinkedIn component on the left-hand side. I can see how many employees they've got on LinkedIn without really going anywhere. I can enter in information such as the mobile phone, and then rate the lead. Okay, so this is a hot lead. Okay, again, good for reporting. Depending on the decision that I chose on the previous screen, it would take me to a second screen where I can then say, okay, they use Salesforce, but we're then going to start to ask more questions. And again, it's guiding me as the user a little bit on what to fill in. You can see there's lots of different ways to fill in information. So a single drop down, okay, in there, or I can choose to have a multi drop down where I can select all sorts of other products that they use. Again, multi-select how many Salesforce users that they might have, okay, and then their current Salesforce partner, as well as filling in the address in here, which we'll come on to in a second. The address is quite important. Salesforce out of the box, as probably those Salesforce users know, is linked with Google Maps, so it allows us straight away to take use of that integration without really having to do anything. Okay, so I've filled in some additional information about that lead. Now I go next, and it's asking me to confirm that to make sure that all of the different information that I've put in is correct. Again, I'm going to click next. Okay, and now we're going to come to the final screen, and you can always a little bit of gamification there. So you don't always have to have text. You can put videos, images, as we'll see a little bit later on, and in this instance, we can put GIFs. So now, as I click finish, okay, what you'll notice, okay, is that it's gone in and it has updated all of the information just from that phone call. Okay, so absolutely everything there is updated for me, including it's logged that I've got the telephone call, and if I expand it, I can see the information that I've logged in that call, that I've logged a lead qualification call in there. And then as well, just taking advantage of other Salesforce Plug and Play App Exchange products. Actually, we're a Salesforce app partner too, and we've built this on the App Exchange. And what it allows us to do is push a button, okay, and we can geocode the record. And then if I refresh my page, what it will see is that allows us on a Google map, okay, to go in and see, okay, here are all the nearby leads that are around that one particular lead. And we could do that using any Salesforce data. And we built that ourselves, and it's available on the App Exchange. So it just gives you an example of all the different plug and play options that you have. Again, not one line of code there. And then finally, what we do before we go on, we can do other things like we've got a webinar next week talking about marketing. Here, as a sales user, so I'm a sales user in this instance, I can go in and I have access to my marketing nurture lists. So for example, this might be here, there might be a Salesforce news mailing list, okay? So I can go in and I can add them to this Salesforce news mailing list, click save as a sales user, and then I know then that from a marketing perspective, they're going to be getting the right message from a marketing department. And again, as an SMB, your marketing department might be you, the same person that's filling this in, but it's a really good way, just from the click of a button, to add them to that particular journey. Okay, so then once I've taken the lead through the process, and you can see I've got working. Okay, and now I've got sort of two decisions. I can either lose the lead. So here in this instance, and again you can use your own terminology. I can put lost. Now, don't just collect good data. Maybe you can collect negative data too as well. When I say negative data, this is sales maybe and the lead hasn't gone the right way. So here we can go in and select a loss reason. Okay, so for example, not interested, and we can use that then as a reporting and an automation metric. But what we're going to choose here is we're going to choose to convert the lead. So in one fell swoop, what we're aiming to do is we're going to take that lead and we're going to create 3 records in Salesforce. Okay, so the first one that we're going to create is we're going to create an account. And again, for your non-Salesforce users, or for those of you that know, an account is essentially a business. And we categorize our businesses. So you'll see as you go through later, you don't just have to have one type of account, one type of business. Here we classify them as prospects, customers, competitors, non-profit. It allows you to show different metrics on the different pages. So we're going to create a prospect account using the business information that we collected during the lead process. We're going to create a business contact using the personal information that we collected on the lead process, and also we're going to create a sales opportunity again. Again, choosing a different type of sale, and that's what we'll go into later. Finally, when you convert the lead, depending on how you work as a business, you don't just have to own it yourself. You could choose to hand it over to a different salesperson, and that might be something that you take advantage of manually, or indeed you take advantage of automatically too. So here we're going to click convert, and in one fell swoop now, what you're going to see is you're going to see Salesforce creating 3 records. Okay, so it's created a business account prospect that you see here. It's created a contact that lives within that prospect, and it's created a sales opportunity. And we're going to go into each one of those as we go through. So we're going to start with the account, go into the contact, and go into the opportunity. So first of all, clicking into the business account. Now, there's a little theme that sort of goes through this as we're going along, is that I only really ever want to enter new information in once. I don't want to double entry. And again, we're an SMB, we just don't have time for that. So everywhere along the way, when I'm collecting information, I'm collecting that, and I'm as I'm collecting that information, it's saving it and following the whole way through the journey. If you remember at the lead status, we collected things like the name of the account, where it's come from, their industry, the number of employees, and all of that has followed through. Again, I can take advantage of a LinkedIn plugin looking at the business. Even the sales related activity has followed through. So you can see the task that I had assigned to me earlier to call the lead to qualify. That's followed it through to the account, as has the call as well that we made. We'll touch on a bit later, but not only have you got calls and tasks, but you've also got email activity, and you've got events, which is more like calendar-based activity, so meetings and remote calls. All of those we use automated, which we'll show at the end through Outlook. But basically, this one pane gives me visibility into all of the activity around the business. And we can do other things as well. We can go and we can look in Twitter here. So we can find the relevant Twitter account and we can link it to show that actually here we've got a couple of people in common. Again, just adding a little bit more of a social element to it. As and when we've been collecting data as well, as we've gone through, you'll see we've always collected data in different formats. So we're collecting it, whether it's a number, whether it's a pick list, or what Salesforce refer to as a drop down. Okay, we could have long text in here. So again, it allows us the ability to go in and collect lots of different types of information. And what I'm doing at the moment here is I'm just populating, and I'm going to show you there's different ways that we can then use that information. We can look who, for example, is the primary contact, and we can go and find the people within that particular business. If you want who's your accounts contact, we can go in and put in things like the VAT number, and remember all of those different products that we selected before. So again, more like a multi-select, as well as like single drop downs. the address information that mapped over from the lead, and also I'm just going to pop a little URL here in the bottom, and then I'm going to save. So here you can see, so now the data is in there that we collected from the lead, and actually now we've gone in and we've filled in more information, but we don't just have to view that information as a number, as a text, as a string. We can also view it as images. So we call it like data visualization. An example here, which is a nice touch, is just putting the logo in. Or you saw earlier, I put our relationship status as good, and I put an account score of 4. I can visualize that data up here when we run a report or when we see like a list view. What that does is that then shows us data in a slightly different way. So it's a little bit of a nicer way to look and to manage data. Over on the right hand side, also what we use as a business as well is, because we spend a lot of money and a lot of time on our system too, we're also a customer of Salesforce. We put what's called in-app guidance. So in here, we have a little prompt for when a new prospect is created to remind the users and our sales consultants to go in and fill the data in. We even have in here a video recorded by our customer success director Tony DiCarlo in terms of the different elements that we're looking for in here. So filling out the certain information, and he's just talking through in a little YouTube video on the best ways to fill out that information. And you can have those prompts available all the time for your team. And then finally, the data just doesn't have to come from you filling it in. It can also come from external sources. So there's an app on the Salesforce App Exchange. Again, it's free, okay, and it's a Companies House app. Not only is it free, but then all you need to do is go and get a free API key from Companies House. It's no more than an hour's worth of work to go and do. You can get that, and then you're allowed to plug in to go to Companies House. So you can see now I'm in the Companies House flow. We're looking at the Companies House API. So I'm just clicking some buttons here to go and say, right, okay, that's the account in Companies House. And now I can go in and you can see I can find the different information straight from Companies House. I can click next, and then I can bring that in from Companies House. And you can see it's pre-populated this information. It took me a matter of a handful of seconds. I bring that information in. That information straight away becomes like a reportable metric. Okay, and I didn't really have to go anywhere to fill in 6 fields. So you can see just by scrolling up and down the page, all of my data's filled in. Okay, either came from the lead. I can fill it in very quickly just by using drop downs, or I can take advantage of other apps, things like Companies House, to populate the data. And again, got that 360 degree view of my account here. So seeing the sales related data that we'll come into in a second. Even seeing my Companies House filing history. I don't really have to go very far. Over on the right hand side here to see activity in LinkedIn. In the middle, I can go through, I can see all my marketing metrics for this person or this business as soon as they would take place. So things like email opens. I can see my sales, which we'll come into. So that complete 360 degree view of all of my details. Also related to that business is a person. And again, taking advantage of seeing that person from LinkedIn. Okay, I can go in, I can copy and paste like information in here straight from LinkedIn. So if I didn't know, or I got their job title wrong, or they got their job title wrong, I could do that. As well as we could collect more peripheral information, those things like gender and again relationship status. Okay, and you'll see and things like department. And you'll see up here as I save. Then I can view the data in different ways. So again, things like gender as well, that I can see and view as a symbol as well. Okay, so I'm just going to now save all the information on there. And finally, before we go on to sales, just on the contact. What you don't have to do is you don't always have to create a contact. You can always link other contacts to other businesses. So an example here is what we do is we link account managers to all of the businesses that we work with. But other CRMs and like old school systems, you would have to duplicate that contact. Whereas what Salesforce allows you to do is have many relationships. So we've got a button, and again, this is all standard Salesforce functionality, where we'd add in a different relationship. So here what we can do is I'm going to add in someone from Salesforce as an account manager. Okay, I'm going to say that that this person would then look after that business. Okay, and going back to Close Brothers, the account. Now what you can see is there's 2 contacts within that business. One is direct. If I go in here, I can see the people. So one will be direct, but then the other one you see actually works for Salesforce, and we've added in that person as an account manager. So it helps us when it comes to automation. It helps us when it comes to reporting to know who looks after them. Again, you can see it from a contact perspective here. If I was to click into that account manager, I can go in here and I can see all of the different businesses that she would look after that we work with. Again, really helps us for a reporting metric. You don't have to duplicate data. So again, using all of the data that's only ever gone in once, we could use that and add that in elsewhere. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into sales. So this is the bit where we'll spend the second half of the session on. So first of all, we discussed lead and lead qualification and going through that lead process. We've created a prospect account in here, and we've got the contact, and we've linked that also to an account manager. So we're going to go to our opportunities, and I think what I think is always nice about us when we show people is we show people our Salesforce, our own CRM, our system across sales, service, and marketing. So everything that you see is real data. Everything you see is how we work as a business. Okay, so we're not making anything up. We've put all of this in place to make our lives very easy. So what I've got is when I've gone into opportunities, I had the ability to switch list views. Okay, so a list view is like is what it says on a tin. It's a list of data, and that becomes like where you would go to manage your daily workflow and whatever object that you're working on. In this instance, sales opportunities. And you can see very much like something on Microsoft Excel, it allows me to put filter criteria on in here that show me all of my sales that are closing next month. Show me all of my sales that are closing this month. I also have the ability to switch between different views as well. So not only have I got like a table view, which is more traditional, as you saw in Excel, but things like a Kanban, which is what we use the most. Okay, so in just clicking the button here, it's changed my view. Okay, and instantly what I can see in here is I get the availability to see all of my sales at the stages that they're at, meeting the criteria summarized by the sales value, or if you want, you can use weighted forecast or something. So just a simple, really easy view that I can switch between the different types of sales that we're making, and I get a total summarized value. So again, I don't have to go and run a report. It's all there for me at my fingertips. We have the ability to flick between different processes as well. So I'm sure, like most businesses, you guys similar to us will have different processes depending on what you're selling. Maybe you're selling a different service, and we have the ability to give different processes for those. So for example, if we're undertaking a quick bit of work, a day's work, or we're installing an app or something like that, then that's really easy to flick between the different sales processes. A simple one here where we've got 3 steps. One where we've got a project where normally we'd go for an on-site meeting, and then we then have a quick start, which is an up and running service that we offer, and again less stages. So it just allows me the ability to flick between those in there. We use it all the time. So I'm going to go into the test record that we created earlier. So this is the opportunity, the sale that we made, and again, okay, like a really common theme, and always bang on about it, but I don't want to be filling in data twice. So for example, the sales activity is there on the right hand side. All of the information about the business is there, where they came from. It shows me their marketing campaign that they came from. Okay, our webinar series that we run in there. So every single thing is pre-filled for me, and then you'll see now when I start to fill in the information, I'm making it easy. So we take advantage of something called guidance to success, which is again similar to like a flow that I showed you before, and it's just different ways that you can encourage your users to fill in information. It might just be you filling in information, which is great, but what happens when you expand? What happens when you bring on more people? So what we can do is we can give description of what you need to do during the various stages, and then go in and fill out the information. So things like description notes that I need at qualification stage, I want to give an estimated number of what I think that this sale is going to give me from a reporting perspective. Okay, so straight away those key fields and the key metrics that I need to fill in are there in front of me. I don't need to scroll up and down the page. They're just there for me. If I'm not sure what I'm doing, if I'm new to my business, then there's also a description highlighting what I should be doing. We use a document collaboration tool called Quip from Salesforce, and this is very similar to like Google Doc. It's like a shared document that you can use with spreadsheets and Word documents, more for note taking than anything else. We need to make sure as a business that we document everything, especially as we expand. So what we've done is because it's a native Salesforce product, it allows us to take advantage of native Salesforce functionality and automations. So we've got an external system that we use to take notes on. Okay, and all we did is just use Salesforce, like click, drag and drop, click automation. And if I refresh my page, I moved it to initial call. I'll refresh my page. I'll go back to my Quip tag, and you can see it's created the document. So as soon as we move it to initial call, it creates that sharing document ready. I'm going to open the document. This is exactly how we work, by the way, exactly how we work. And it's created a template straight away here. And this is what we would normally use for like a scoping call. And now what you can see is we can be on the call and take notes together. Okay, and you can see I'm typing away at the top. Okay, very much like Google Doc, or if you've got a shared Word doc in SharePoint, or anything like that. It's a collaboration tool. I'm typing away. You can see down here that Tony's adding in like a calendar, which we would normally put in. But this document's created for us automatically, logged against the sale, so it's ready for that call. So I don't need to keep reminding myself and other people within the business to take notes. I'll close that down now, and I'll move on to the next stage. But I'll also go along and fill in more information about this. So here we can do things like, okay, let's estimate what their budget is. Let's choose let's confirm what their budget is. Choose, okay, when's, for example, the project start date, or you could have, for example, the shipping date. Potentially, what Salesforce products are we going to be working with? Again, when we've got other people coming along, for example, our project manager, he's coming in here, he wants to see, right, I know these guys are doing an API, so I need to allocate more project resource. So we're making sure that we fill in all the information for various areas of our business. Again, moving it to demo, there's no real description or anything to do other than just wishing the person giving the demo good luck. As well, around here, what we also have to do is we can communicate around this particular record. So, for example, I've just given the demo. I've taken the demo. What I can now do is start to discuss, for example, how that went around the opportunity. So here I can mention Tony, customer success director, and said that was a great demo, but I need help with the project, for example. Okay, so by using internal collaboration tools like, for example, like Chatter, and I'm sure on here many SMBs are in the same position as Cloud Orca, where there's so many different collaboration tools are there that you don't really know where to go. But by using this, and I can see here that Tony's typing away, so it's a little bit like a chat function, that it keeps all of the communication around that particular records. Okay, it means that there's no emails flinging around. It means that people can go in and see clear the sales related comms around that record. And Tony just said, okay, please add me in and jump on it. So I suppose it nicely brings us on to the fact that then we can have teams on the potential sale. So using permissions, I own this sale, so it's up to me to edit the sale. I take full responsibility for it. But actually, what we might want to do is we might want to add other people into it. So here I can go in and I can add other members. So for example, I can choose in this instance that I might wanted. So I would act maybe as the consultant, but Tony, one of my colleagues here, would also come on the deal. So it means then that what I can choose to do is I can give him right access to it. So I can say, actually, do you know what I want? I want to allow this person to come onto the sale as well. And from a reporting metric, he becomes then another person on that sale. So for example, commission splits and elements like that. But also from a permissions basis, it means that he can now come on and edit that record as well. So once we've given the demo, I've realized that I need someone else on the sale. I've asked him using Chatter, keeping it all in the one record. I've added him using Team onto that. I'd now move it to the next stage where I want to produce my proposal. So again, some more information here that I need to fill in. So things like, have I added the products in, custom development, and the next step is to go in and produce a quote and win the deal. Okay. I just wanted to highlight something before I go on, okay, in here, that actually we also have rules around information must be completed. At the proposal element here, if I try and move it into the next stage, which is negotiation, it will say that I haven't actually completed everything. And one of the things that I'm going to show you now is that I need to go in and complete the quote. So everywhere along, and you'll see this in a second as well, everywhere along the way, we're putting data validation in. To really ensure that the effort that you've put in to setting the system up yourselves, or using businesses like us to set it up for you, that you're keeping the integrity there by saying do this before you do that. So going to the 360-degree view of the sale, then very much like the account, what I can then do is I can see all of the different information around the opportunity. So here you can see I didn't have to do anything. The lead that I converted here, they've been added in as the primary contact for that particular opportunity. Again, hover over them, see the details without really going anywhere. I can then go along and see products, quotes, orders, and projects, and you'll see all of this come to life in the next couple of seconds. So I'm now going to go along and I'm going to add in the products and choose the price list that I work from. Salesforce has the ability to allow you to select multiple price lists. So for example, you might have a trade or wholesale price list over retail. You might have special customers like an A+ customer. And here it brings up all of my different products that I've got. So in here, I'm just going to choose to do like an API integration and choose like a day rate, for example, in here. So I might say, okay, they want one API integration, but actually it's not 1,500. It's a little bit more expensive, this one. It's going to be 5,000. It gives me the ability to edit the prices. Or if those of you thinking, oh no, we don't want our salespeople to edit, you can also lock it down as well to say, you know, you can't edit that price. I'm going to choose one of those, and I'm going to say, okay, within that, they might need 10 days consultancy. So I'll save that. Okay. Now remember, before we added in 5,000 to the opportunity. Okay. Now if I scroll to the top, actually it's overridden, and the amount has now been driven from the products that I've added. So again, I don't need to keep remembering to update that amount. That amount is already there for me. So I've added in the products. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add in a quote. Okay. So now we've added those in. We want to quote business for what we're doing, and I'll put it in here. Okay, so we want to put a quote in for API, and I can choose, for example, if you want like an expiration date, so like a validation, you know, your salesperson, you know, can only have a quote open for a certain time. Okay, and again, I actually don't need to fill in anything else, and everything's pre-filled for me. So if I save it, what everyone will see on here straight away is all of the data pre-populated for me, so I don't actually need to do anything at all. Let me just refresh my page quickly. Oh yeah, so actually I don't need to do anything. All of the data is in there for me. Who it's for, what the opportunity name is, what the business name, who the person is, what their email, what their email is, what their address is, phone number, like everything. Don't have to fill in anything on here at all. Okay. I can also, again, using standard Salesforce functionality, sync the quote back to the opportunity. You'll see in a second, we're going to make changes to the quote. So add in a product, discount a product. You don't want discrepancy between your sale. So it's going to allow sync between the two to keep both records in harmony. So on here, once I now start to quote, what you can see is very much like the sale and the lead and everything. I've got a linear process from start to finish. I can go along in here and I can move the quote to send. I can go back and move it along in all of these different stages. You can see quite freely, okay? I've given list price for the products, but what about if we wanted to discount the products, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a 25% discount, okay? So a percentage discount, and I'm going to offer it today for all of these products, or both of these products that I've put on here. Okay, so I'll save that. Okay, so I've added in the line item discount, okay, and it's now over here on the left hand side. It said, right, total discount on the quote is 25%, as you guys saw. Brilliant. Salesperson, easiest thing in the world to give a discount to win a sale. But now I'm going to move it along and try and move this quote to send it, and it'll block me, okay, because every single quote above 20% needs management approval. And it doesn't have to be 20%, it could be 1%, it could be every quote, it doesn't matter. The principle is that what we're saying is that now, because this quote hasn't met the business requirement, we need to do something with it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to submit it for approval. Now, the way that we would normally work as a business is obviously I'm a director of this business. Our consultants submit quotes to me for approval, or to Tony. Please approve my quote. But for the purposes demo, to show everyone on here, I'm just going to prove it myself, so you'll be able to see the workflow. So I just submit that quote. Okay, I'll choose me. Okay, and submit. Okay, perfect. And I've actually now, my phone's just gone off next to me as well. I've got a push notification, and I've got a little bell up here that says, okay, I need to approve the quote. I just click on it. It gives me a snapshot of that quote, okay, how much it is, what the discount is. And for those of you that work on the go, business owners, business directors, this just comes on a phone and you just click accept, okay, or you can reject or something. Okay, so here I can say all approved, okay, and then what would happen is that the user, and now once it's been approved, would also get a notification. So I can go over to my notification bell. It said that it's been approved, and actually look here, it's moved it to the approval status as well in there. Okay, so finally what we're going to do is now we're going to produce a PDF, again just by pushing a button. We configured this ourselves. Salesforce have drag and drop quote building, so really easy for us to do that. And just by pushing that button, now it's produced a quote using our branding, bringing in all of the product information, and I've got a couple of options here. Okay, so and you can also, by the way, put T's and C's and stuff on it should you wish. But I'm going to go and I'm going to choose to just click save an email. So now what it's going to do is it's going to save that PDF against the record, and now it's going to allow me as the sales user, you can see little pop-ups come up to say you can email this quote. Okay, so straight from Salesforce, not having to go anywhere. It's linked to my Outlook 365. I can just say, or you can do Gmail if you want. Here's the quote, and send it off. But we're not going to do that actually for the demo here. In this instance, we're actually going to use eSign. So here I've got my quote that was generated. You can see it saved it against the record. And again, using plug and play functionality, this is a HelloSign is an app on the Salesforce App Exchange. But for those of you wondering, it also works with DocuSign, Adobe Sign, Conga Sign, Echo Sign. There's loads of different e-signature functions on the App Exchange, and all of them really work in the same way. So now it's loaded up. It gives me the opportunity to select the document. So remember, we saved that quote from pushing a button. It's there for me right in front of me. I'm just going to select it and click next. Okay, now you can see it's going to give me the opportunity to select the person from the quote. Okay, I don't get a long list. I just get that person, and if I want to as well, I can add like me on or other people for CC. Then select next and select Cloud Orca quote. And again, this is for those of you wondering, like, this is exactly how we work. Okay, really easy, super simple. Everything's there in front of us. Now I'm going to go on to prepare the document. Okay, and again, it's now just going to bring up the document, and I'm going to put in things like the signature, the sign date, their job title. Again, here's a document that we generated before. Drag in the signature here, really simple. And you can also, for those of you that have got like more standard documents, maybe that wouldn't change, like things like NDAs or contracts, you can preload them and have them as templates with merge fields, so you don't have to keep doing documents all the time. NDA is probably one of the common ones that we would use. Okay, so I've put in everything in here. I'm going to click continue, okay, and then I'm going to click request signature. Okay, so bang, that's actually gone on, and I'm now going to refresh the page. I'm going to come back to the quote. And what you see is now there's a few things now going on. Okay, so it's updated the quote to sent because I've put it out into the sent status in there. If I go back now to my opportunity, I can move it to negotiation review. Because I've completed that quote, it frees it up and it says okay, it's free to move to negotiation review. And we have a process, again, using the e-sign and also using Salesforce standard functionality, where as soon as that quote comes back in, it's going to set off a load of chain reactions in there, and that's what we'll look at in a second. Going to the sort of the more 360 degree view in there, what we can see is in the opportunity, again, not really having to go anywhere else. I got my quote that I made earlier, okay, and now I can just hover over it, okay, and I can see that quote in there, all of the different information. Also, I'm going to refresh the page in a second. There's no order or projects, which is like post-sales stuff that we do. As I've been sat on this record, you can now see I've not done anything. Okay, this is recorded so everyone can see it was in negotiation. By signing the document, it came back in. Okay, and it's done a few things in there. If I click on this quote, it's updated the quote to accepted. Okay, again, I didn't touch that. I left it in the sent status. It's uploaded the preview here that was signed. Okay, so you can see there's the signed PDF that's come back in. Literally, just it took a couple of seconds. If I go back into the sale as well and refresh my page, you're going to see that it has created it's created other records. So going back to that 360 degree view, now I can go in here and I can see it's created a sales order that we're going to click into in a sec. It's created a project. And we've also taken advantage of other sets of functionality. We don't like emails as a business. There's way too many emails get flown around. We use push notifications. So you can see here, we've just given congratulations, and everyone in the business who's a Salesforce user uses Salesforce mobile app. I've got a nice little push notification that's come through. Hey, congratulations, this sale is won. And that could be with anything sales, service. So you don't just have to email. You can also use push notification functionality as well. Okay, and then so what it's done is from within that, and I'm just going to really touch on this briefly. But what it's done from within there is it's created an order. Okay, like a post sale, because you might want to automate things straight from the sale. You might want that one step process, where what it's done for us is it's come in here and it's created a sales order. So that order that we've got there, okay, it's created that order from the different products that we've chosen. Okay, it's also done things like it's created an invoice ready to go off to our invoicing system. Okay, so then all we would have to do is go back to that order, go in here, push a button, okay, and now it would take that order and it would fling that order that we've got here with that invoice straight off to our finance system, okay, and then we can keep it up to date. So, for example, once that invoice has been paid, and we've actually got a webinar on finance integrations in a month or so. But for example, once that invoice has been paid, it would show the invoice status and stuff in there as well. It allows to have that element of clarification and management around the sale post the sale being closed won. So you might have someone who needs to generate a PO or something on there. Okay, so just to show then, there's actually some more things that have gone on since we've done that. If we go back to the business that we first converted, for those of you that remember in there, remember they were a prospect. Okay, so again, we've not really done anything, we haven't touched on this, but if we come back to them, we can see that they're a Cloud Orca customer now. So it's changed their record automatically based on the fact that they've got a closed won sale. And it's now done things automatically again, like it's opened it up to the fact here we can see the sales opportunity. And before we couldn't see the orders because none of our prospects have orders, only our customers do. So we can see them there. We can see things like the project info, that we saw. It opens them up to have potentially service, because now they're a customer, as well as other things like finance. Before we just saw their company's house filing information. Okay, and now what we see is we actually see things like their account that they have with us, invoices that we've generated in there. So straight away, just from close winning that sale, all of those automations, changing the customer record type, really really simple, all point and click automation that we work, that really helps us function and operate as a business. So back on our homepage, what you guys saw is a whole array of information, and hopefully now it would make a little bit more sense to you. Now we've walked you through our sales process and our Salesforce instance. Okay, so things like if you guys all remember, we had an account score on there. So we've got a little chart showing us, the 1 to 5, and those that we haven't allocated a score yet to. The different types of accounts that we had. It was 111 when we logged in this morning. Now it's 112. We had gender, so we broke that down. You can see in there. Then things like the different types of sales that we've got by sales owner, and who's got what. So Tony has the different types of projects that he's got. Sales group by month and the close date and stuff. So what we've done in here is we've taken all of the information that you guys saw us populate, the different sales and stages that they're at, the target. So we've got a target to have X amount of open revenue at any one time, and we need to be in the green, because that's what we've estimated that where we need to be for growth. Total value of lost opportunities we can use for reporting, number of leads created this month, and you could group it by lead owner and stuff. You sort of get the picture that if we've put data in there, we can then use that data to build reports, which is what underlines these dashboards, and then build one dashboard that really simply going to show me complete overall metrics. And of course, you have the ability to build more than those, and they're very very drag and drop. So finally, just to finish before we open for Q&A, I'm just going to minimize my screen here, and then I'm just going to bring on an email on. So what we also do as a sales organization, we're quite email heavy. Okay, we have lots of people emailing in, and we want to manage it from Outlook. So we use the Salesforce Outlook email pane. Okay, and this one is Inbox, which is the paid version, but there's a free version too, that does some similar sets of functionality. Now, what you can see here is this is the person that emailed me before. This is the fake email address that we used for the demo, and but just by that person now emailing me here, I had all signed, look forward to starting soon. It picks up anything that's related here. So look, I can go in and I can see here's the related person, here's the business, here's the project that they had in there, because when people email us, we want to see the open projects and stuff that they've got. It even allows me to go in, click in and see the information. So this is exactly what you guys saw a second ago inside of Salesforce. I'm viewing everything from within here, so I don't really have to go anywhere, and there's no excuse not to fill in information. If we're missing a bit of information, I can very easily just go into the Outlook record in here, and I can go in and I can edit that, save it, and I've just saved it from within inside of Outlook as well. Again, manage his contact record in there. We auto log our emails. So now when we have when an email's been sent to us in here, it would auto log it against that record, and it might, if we are lucky, have done it automatically in there. If we go back to the sales related activity, yep, it has here. So you guys can see here, that's the email that was literally just sent to me a couple of seconds ago, and it's taken it and it's logged that email against that contact and against that account. So again, I don't need to go anywhere. Everything's there for me. I've not had to prompt me to do that. I just use standard Salesforce functionality, log that email. What it means is that if I go on holiday, if I go sick or anything like that, it gives my colleagues an easy handover. Straight away, they can go in here in one fell swoop. On the right hand side, they can see all data that's related to this customer, including email that we just saw, Outlook meetings, etc., and all of the different sales related information as well in there. So a couple of questions in here. So the first difference is what's the difference between a professional and enterprise? A really good question, actually. Probably one of the most common questions that we get asked. So we're on Enterprise Edition, and if you don't know the different editions, you just have to go on Salesforce to have a look. A lot of what you see in ours around the automations won't happen when it comes to professional, because you're limited to 5, whereas enterprise we had like 15 different automations that were going on in there, other things like reporting and profile permissions and stuff as well. So we got a couple of other questions in here. What are the key differences between the Outlook app free integration and the paid version? Yeah, great question. There's the main difference actually is around there's email tracking. So what you can do is you can embed a tracking pixel in the email, which you get like a notification if people open it or not. You get the option to put in meeting slots from your Outlook calendar. So in here, you see, I could go in and I could send this person an email. This is linked to my calendar, but you can also link it to other people within the business. And now it's put in dynamic email slots, and people can click those to request meetings with you, and it would create a meeting in Outlook, Gmail if you use Gmail, and also in Salesforce. So things like viewing and updating all the information, all of that's in a free version, but the paid version is more email tracking and calendar availability. It's worth its weight in gold. Personally, it's one of our most used products. Can you provide a list of apps via the App Exchange that you'd recommend? Security is a real issue, so the worries we start using an app that isn't reputable. Okay, that's a really good question, actually. Reason being is we're an App Exchange partner, and we've gone through the App Exchange process. We have to meet so many different security requirements to be able to have an app that is on the Salesforce App Exchange. Okay, so you guys can see it on here. All of the apps that we showed you are publicly available to download. It means that we have to meet all the different permissions around profiles, users, languages, permission sets, etc., etc., etc. So we need to we need to meet all of those requirements. The things that I would say to anyone is, if you do it, is if you're installing something for Salesforce that isn't on the App Exchange, Salesforce will warn you. Okay, so it'll tell you from a security one. And quick free plug, you can download Google Mapping that we built for Salesforce. How do you link Outlook to Salesforce? Is this an app to download? So that is two things, actually, for those of you wanting to do it. One, you need to configure it in the back end of Salesforce, and it's not like an API, so don't get worried. It's really easy. You click a few buttons and you put in your username and password, and you're done. So that's the first thing. So you need to do that. And for those of you that don't know how to do it, and you're worried about doing it, just go on to Trailhead, which is Salesforce Online Learning. Okay, and then once you're on this, just go in and type in Outlook or Gmail. Okay, and then what you'll see is there's a walkthrough that's going to show you exactly how to set it up. That's the first thing. And then the second thing that you need to do is you need to either install yourself or get your Outlook admin to then install the email plugin for you. And that's it, really. And it would be done. It would be done for you in there. So thank you very much. I hope this was really helpful to show you how a company like Cloud Orca, a small medium business, use Salesforce for their own sales process. And we really look forward to hosting those of you attending our marketing and service webinars coming up over the next few weeks. So thanks very much all, and look forward to seeing and speaking to everyone soon.